All right. Hello, everyone. Excited to be here today with Moshe, Coach Moshe. He's one of our coaches in the supplement business, but he's actually been doing this a long time. I think it might even be longer than me. So he's got a lot of experience here, and we're going to talk about his journey in the health business and some of the stuff he does, and some of it's different from me as well. So I'm interested. And this is also to introduce you to Moshe. He's not online. He doesn't have his own. He hasn't branded himself as a health coach online or anything like that. But of course, we are in the health business, and most of these episodes are about health. And if you would like our opinion, our help, you can reach out to us. Our contact is in the description, wallachswarriors.ca, on the contact page. And you can select a coach there, including Moshe. Send them your questionnaire, which we also have on the contact page. And they will give you a starting recommendation, supplements, foods, anything else that's relevant to your case. This is completely free, by the way. We do make money if you do purchase the supplements, but you get our advice for free. Once again, that is in the description. And just before we jump in, remember you can always find everything that I do on my website, notusbooks.org, including all the books that I've written and helped publish, the free audiobook versions of those books, and an archive of this podcast where you can download the episodes for free. And actually, if you listen to the archive versions, there's a special treat for you at the very end. That's notusbooks.org. That also has all of our pages on Instagram and YouTube and hundreds of book reviews as well. That's sort of my other main thing. And some other stuff as well. Notusbooks.org. And with that out of the way, Moshe, hello. How are you? Where did you come from? How'd you get into this?
Hey Ryan, thanks for having me. It's such a blessing and honor to spend some time with you. And yeah, I really just would like to, both of us, we're in this to provide knowledge and solutions to people so that we can reduce human suffering, I would say. A lot of people suffering needlessly from lack of education or lack of resources. So thanks so much for this platform and opportunity. Well, I have been with Longevity and Dr. Wallach since 2014, I would say. So it's been close to 10 years now. And my story starts sort of the end of high school, beginning of university. At that time, my uncle, he passed away from brain cancer, and he had suffered from chemotherapy and radiation for a number of years. And finally, just that was just too much. And as it's common in this society, because of that treatment, he passed away. That really led me to really want to do some investigating or trying to find out why is this happening so much. And at the same time, I had my own health problems. So it was sort of a both simultaneously trying to figure out what's happening with individuals who undergo chemotherapy, but at the same time finding solutions for my own health problems. Anyway, I started university and completely different degree other than health. I started in the education and teaching, that going down that path and that field. However, at the same time, I spent a lot of time looking and researching online for holistic doctors and supplements or natural methods and trying to figure out how can I help myself because I definitely did not want to go to the doctors and I never really took medications other than antibiotics that a dentist would prescribe. So I came across, yeah, many different doctors. I started taking different supplements from different companies and nothing seemed to work. Nothing really gave me really any kind of support or I didn't recover from the symptoms I had anyway. And so finally one day just across all the videos I would watch every day, I came across a video that was of Dr. Glidden. And I think a lot of your viewers know Dr. Glidden. If you don't, definitely check him out. And he's a gigantic advocate and supporter of longevity and Dr. Wallach for many, many years. And in his interview, in that video, he was talking about how nutritional formulations or supplements, they're like chicken soup and there's many different variations of them and the ingredients and the formulation really makes a difference. He named longevity in that video, and for some reason it just clicked. For some reason I had like a moment of waking up or epiphany that this might be the answer I've been looking for all these months and years. Stopped the video, I went online and I just started researching and I found it. And I can't remember all the details, but I know in a matter of few hours or a day or two, I had ordered some of the longevity products, and I was really excited about this. And for I'm sure again your viewers do know this, of course. You get introduced to longevity. There's someone that will tell you about it. There's someone that will hold your hand and guide you and accompany you through this journey. Me, on the other hand, I found it by myself, and so I didn't even know that it exists in this format. I didn't know that I could have someone that would help me and answer my questions. So just really not knowing anything other than having had tried supplements before, I just began using the products, and now looking back, I didn't take them the right way. I didn't change my diet. I didn't know any of the information that we all know, but I did notice a change over time. So just to make it brief, yeah, my symptoms just started to go away over the next several weeks.
Like
And
what kind of symptoms are we talking about?
yeah, I definitely made a list. So we're talking about as simple stuff that everyone deals with. Let's say just overall chronic fatigue and not having enough energy just to go through the day and night and doing simple tasks, having to need a nap when it comes at the afternoon time. I had a lot of skin issues, which now it was very obvious because wheat and different grains were definitely a part of my diet. So I had dry, flaky skin on my scalp, on my face, back of ears, elbows, chest, eyebrows, you name it. I had the clinical signs of gluten intolerance and damaged intestines. And then there were other things such as like dizziness or low blood pressure, high blood sugar. I would be getting really tired and yawning after eating food. Had tooth problems, headaches. I mean, the list, it was just lots of small, minor things that I think everyone or majority of people go through on a daily basis, and we tend to get used to it, and we think nothing much of it because it's not a big thing, it's not a diagnosis that makes it official by our doctor. So, and I was pretty young. This was all throughout high school and middle school. I remember feeling this way. I was very lean and skinny, not being able to gain weight, but also I never lost much weight. Not much appetite, bowel problems, just all these minor stuff that are very common. And yeah, just by using the formulas and not using them correctly and not even changing my diet, I started to cross off these symptoms from my list over the course of the next several weeks. Yeah.
Weeks?
I think I would have to, yeah, that was looking back, that was one of the amazing things. And I think just simply because your body's so deficient, like a vase of a flower, and it's so lacking of water. And my body, I think, just absorbed it in quickly, and it just needed it desperately. And so that's what I usually see with my clients. The more severe the health problem or the more deficient an individual is, suddenly they see quick uh, improvements. And then it may kind of plateau a bit and slow down. But in my case, in a few weeks, maybe close to a month and a half, the psoriasis and the dry skin had definitely improved. The energy was really, really good. No more getting sleepy after meals, no more getting dizzy, and the headaches went away. So I'm very, very blessed that I got those results because I realized, yeah, my body was extremely deficient. And then, of course, the recovery process continued afterwards as I learned more on how to use them and changing my diet.
Well, we do hope for quick results. That is the best. People shouldn't expect the fastest results depending on the situation, but depending on the situation, but it is best to get them quick. People don't give up. People can give up. Sometimes it can take a little while. So you have things like chronic fatigue and skin problems, and you start like Googling what kind of stuff comes up. Is it confusing? Did you get some good starting points?
Uh, I think no matter what condition I would Google, the answers were pretty much the same. Stuff like exercise and get enough sleep and, take this one nutrient and limit alcohol. Just these general advices we see online a lot, or maybe our doctor would say. Yeah, I mean, I kind of was doing that already. My sleep was pretty good as a teenager. My diet wasn't the best, so that was one thing. But it wasn't like I was taking medication, which was contributing to the even more deficiencies or toxicities in my body. So I would say compared to my peers, I was a bit on the healthier side, but I still needed a lot of support and I needed to really, yeah, support my body with these nutrients. And yeah, the other supplements, looking back now, yeah, they would say if you're over 12 years, take two, under 12, take one. And now I look back at those ingredients, it's I mean, just like Dr. Glidden would say, you can't put out a fire with a squirt gun. You have to use a big hose. So we're talking about the amounts of the nutrients I would take that were not giving me results, the lack of all the essential nutrients, the proper ratios, not too much of this, not too much of that to upset the balance, and the molecular form of these nutrients. Can my body actually absorb all of this, or do I have to take five, six times the serving size just so that I get somewhere? So all of these factors really matter in the formulation and whether you get results. And again, before longevity and even throughout the longevity, I've researched many, many companies. And again, nothing really comes close to the science and the just something, if once you analyze it, it makes you say there's something about these formulas. And as we know, well, Dr. Wallach is definitely behind all this. So that was another thing I realized. Yeah, so many companies out there, but who's the formulator? What's the science behind it? Is it just some ingredients put together just so that they can sell something? Or is there a specific purpose and mission to really help an individual recover and repair their body? So, yeah.
Yeah, the other day I was asked the question sort of about budgeting nutrients, and I had to say we are the budget option. Because if you try and go and add up even half of what's in one of our regular products at a health food store, it's going to cost you more and it's probably not going to work. You can find things with almost the same label. I just bet it's probably not going to work that well. Not every there's some companies that make specific nutrients that are better than ours, but for the most part, I think our we dominate in this whole package concept where you can buy most of your nutrients, like almost everything being pretty well perfect in one simple package, two, three products, maybe four products. It's just so much more efficient. And you see on there are some companies that advertise like total nutrition, but these words don't really mean anything. Total, they can have some of the agreed essential nutrients, which is not that long of a list. They don't need to have 100% of everything or anything to be able to say total nutrition. It's a strange concept because we have pretty good understandings, honestly. The mainstream medical world doesn't know this, but there's pretty decent agreements on the doses of the nutrients that we need, and yet the regular mainstream world and the government set their limits often like 10 times lower or even more than that. It's like, tires. We've got rigorous science showing that the tires on our cars need, 28 psi, 30 psi, 32, 34, depending on the tire. But it's completely figured out what's optimal. But it's like that. And then the doctors come in and say, yeah, but we don't want you to go higher than 10 psi. We don't want you to go higher than 3 psi. Like technically the tire is still inflated, but it's not going to be very safe going down the road. And they've got this idea that, under optimal conditions, this is your RDA, but nobody's in optimal conditions. Nobody. There is no perfect average person out there. It doesn't exist. So the RDAs are set already too low or just barely enough to keep that perfect person alive under optimal conditions, not when they're sick or nothing, no stress, none of that stuff. And yeah, this is a recipe for disaster. So it's cool that you figured that out pretty quick. What were the first types of supplements that you did try?
Yeah, I did definitely start with a multivitamin. But then after that, I would try to get some add-ons or individual nutrients. I would get sick a lot. Definitely every winter I would get sick. So I was really trying to support my immune system. The multivitamins I would take and a few, like a vitamin C or zinc here and there, which is not really complete at all. It was such a waste of money, waste of time, waste of effort. But you have to go through these, if you do it by yourself, if you try to do this alone, then you're bound to make mistakes. And this is pretty serious stuff. We're talking about the human body. We're talking about your health. If I were to fly, let's say to LA, well, I'm putting my trust in the pilot to take me there. I'm not going to try to now figure out how am I going to fly the airplane and take myself there. Or with any other profession, really, we trust the experts. We trust the individual to provide that service for us. Well, as it turns out, the medical model that we're have been living through in the last century is not it's not fair. It's like all the majority of the money and the support has been given to one profession, and this profession is only good at a specific thing, but we go to them for everything. uh, so I've made a lot of mistakes, with and trial and error trying to figure all this stuff out because no one introduced me to it. And so that's not how it's supposed to be. This mission we're on, this business, it's meant it's meant for you to have someone to hold your hand along this journey and provide you with the guidance and the advice. So if anyone's listening, we have tons of resources and we have tons of people who have experience and the knowledge for this. In the same way that a lot of other things, like let's say trying to fix our car, we don't do it really by ourselves. Definitely for the human body, let's not try to figure it out on our own when the doctor has not been able to help us. So definitely try to lean on the support of someone who knows what they're doing. So
Well, the car's pretty complicated, but it's nowhere near as complicated as the body. No way.
right, right.
There's only like 10 fluids that you need to put in a car.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't screw them up, but it's pretty simple. Don't put sand in your gas tank and you're probably going to be all right. Fill up the washer fluid when it's empty. But yeah, I had help in this business. I had somebody holding my hands, and yeah, I didn't know how big of an asset that is. And this is how this is always supposed to go. Absolutely. So yeah, take advantage of our coaching program thing here because that's why it's there. We've always taken the long route because we could just make posts of why you need this nutrient or why this product is great and you should just buy this product. But then if you buy things indiscriminately, you're not going to get the best result. And you said, Moshe, you said you didn't get the food advice or anything like that. Well, that's half the coin, right? So we want to give you that food information so that you can get the best possible result as fast as possible so you stick around and then you'll be the best customer to us. It's kind of selfish here, but if you're wandering out on your own, this can get really complicated. We've both been studying this here for 10 years. It just keeps getting more and more complicated, honestly. I can remember things better now because it's been so long, but I'm constantly learning new things about all these nutrients and how they work together. And even beyond the essential nutrients, there's all kinds of other beneficial things, that we could spend hours talking about. And yeah, it just takes years and years and years and years to learn all the ins and outs and what's important and what's not, and what kind of doses are really going to work, and other types of things within people's lives that you might not think of at first. If you're just thinking everything in terms of nutrition, you have to realize, oh, there's actually a whole bunch more stuff. Just saying, we have to be a little bit of detectives sometimes on the difficult cases, but that's what you want. You want a detective who at least knows what they're looking for, at least has an idea.
Just again, because there's a lot of new folks coming into longevity, and it can be kind of intimidating or scary of, well, so much to know, or there's so many products, what do I do? And people may get overwhelmed. It can be more complex. You and I think we have a genuine passion and interest in nutrition, and we always love to keep learning over and over, and we'll do this for the rest of our lives. But a lot of individuals may not have an interest in this. And so please, for those out there, don't think that you have to be an expert in order to get this, in order to help yourself or really help anyone. I know, again, individuals who did not even go to university, and they are very successful at this and helping individuals with Dr. Wallach's protocols. I know individuals who are, again, yeah, completely different fields, don't know much about nutrition, and again, they're not trying to be the expert. They shouldn't really try to be the expert unless someone has a certification, someone is a health coach, someone has a genuine interest. You can learn and on your own, but the point is, it doesn't have to be complex. Anyone can help anyone with this. I know, again, yeah, teenagers who who get this, to a certain degree, and can point someone in the right direction using the resources and the videos or presentations out there. So no one should feel discouraged to, join us, whether to help themselves or help others, because anyone can do it, really. Of course, yeah, I really encourage individuals to take this really seriously and learn as well. And I definitely do coach others to become health coaches. I am a certified health coach through the Institute of Holistic Health. And that's a institution, an entity that was created by two top individuals in longevity. So they teach Dr. Wallach's protocols and philosophy. So if you want to go down that route, then you can definitely get a certification and help more people. But again, anyone can do this. It's not like surgery that is very complex. It's just giving the body what it needs to fix itself. It's just supporting the God-given ability of the body to fix itself. But there's a little bit of a learning curve to get this, and that's why you're here. That's why other health coaches like me or myself are here. There's tons of resources, and um, I think, yeah, our health is the greatest wealth we have. So uh, if we can have this as a priority in our life compared to, other things that take our time, we would really get so much out of life and live long and healthfully. So, yeah.
To back that up, we used to get really good results. We still do. I mean, but just right out of the gate, we just started buckshot approach, just given the 90 essential nutrients, given the 90 essential nutrients, this person, that person. I didn't know the ins and outs. I didn't really know the digestion stuff, enzymes, and there's so much in the toolkit I just didn't know about. But the buckshot approach worked quite well with most people. In fact, it worked so well that I coasted on that for years. It wasn't even until a few years ago where I started to get really serious about the study of nutrition. I knew the basics, and that was enough for the vast majority of cases. That was enough. For the vast majority of cases, that was enough. I didn't have to be an expert in the details, but there are some tricky cases out there. We put a lot of emphasis, we spend a lot of time talking about the difficult cases, but they're definitely the minority. And just to further back you up, the guy who brought me in was a bus driver. He didn't have a university degree or anything like that. Some of my best friends in this business are plumbers or teachers or, just regular people, and they know this. They at least know the basics, and those basics will change the average person's life big time.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that sort of sets me apart that I see out there is that, again, because of my genuine interest and just really I spend time, researching and the ins and outs, as you said. So of the hundreds, if not thousands of nutritional formulas that longevity provides, I can't really say any off the top of my head that I'm not familiar with. I have used, I mean, with the exception of the female related ones, I've used pretty much all of them. I've I know the ins and outs of the ingredients and really researching what different ingredients do, how the different ingredients support the body, because how much can you really talk about or advertise about a nutritional formula? You could have, let's say, something that we call like the Cal Toddy. Well, on the bottle, it says bone and joint support. But when you look at the ingredients, there's so much more benefits to that. You just pick one ingredient, one nutrient in any of our formulas, and it has numerous benefits on the body. It's multifunctional. That's just the way the body works. Every different tissue and cell needs all of these different essential nutrients. And so every single formula we have is multifunctional. But, the brain and heart pack can't be called the brain and heart and liver and kidney and brain and skin pack. We got to shorten that. Or Cal Toddy, again, you just got to shorten it, say bone and joint. But so I guess I don't want your viewers or anyone else out there to think that nutrients are very limited, also like prescription drugs. Nutrients have a wide spectrum of benefits in the body, and when you blend them all together in a synergistic manner, oh my God, I mean, look out, because the results and just again, the way the body will start the repair process is so beautiful. Basically, I've definitely, on my own time, really have gone through these different formulations we have and researched the ingredients. And so I know what's what's useful in which scenario. You have a lot of immune support formulas, but some have their different strengths, some have other strengths, and when to use which. Um, Same thing with the other categories of formulas we have. So at least for me and helping my clients, it's very valuable and helpful to know, okay, let's go with this formula if you want immune support. Let's go with this formula if you want cardiovascular support, because again, they're all advertised as cardiovascular supporting, but the ingredients sort of take you in a different path, depending on what you need help with. So it's just a lot of these pearls of wisdom that you pick up over the years when learn from Dr. Wallach or Dr. Glidden or any of the other health professionals we have, the books, the presentations. It's an abundance of information that we have to provide, and you start to put the pieces together and everything really makes sense. So just wanted to share that with those who may think it's helpful.
And now we have the podcast added to that list of resources, and I think it is an important resource. We go pretty deep into quite a lot of things. So you fixed your own health, at least you started to get your results very quickly. How long did it take you to start helping other people, and what were some of your first cases like?
Well, again, this was the beginning of university. So I was in a very small town, didn't know anyone, just I would go to classes, come back home. So I had absolutely no contact with the folks out there, just those back home. And at the same time, being that young, I was a bit afraid, I didn't have the courage to speak up about it. And I just wanted to learn a bit more before I said anything to anyone. Over time, I began to just, of course, my parents were the first ones to talk to about this. But as far as cases go, yeah, it took me some time to really, I guess, be confident or find the courage to speak about it and know what I'm talking about. I know a doctor who can help, and there's information and videos that I can share with you. So as far as in the beginning, it just started off with family, my own mom and dad, and then slowly it spread to just nearby friends and neighbors. Again, I I was just learning this all by myself. I was just watching videos day and night, and I bought Dr. Wallach's books and was reading those, trying to make sense of different things and putting them together. So I would say, yeah, my own parents were the first individuals I helped with. Of course, they had much more complex things they were dealing with other than myself, but they did see results. And, you know, habit is a very important thing to have when it comes to our, it's part of our daily life. And so I think the habit of taking nutritional formulas every single day is something that a lot of people are not used to at all. And they have this philosophy that we learn of just depending on the food because the food is enough. So I also had a little bit of trouble getting my parents and others to take the formulas regularly, consistently.
It's such a
Um,
small thing, hey. Like really, it's less than 5 minutes of your day, but it does
yeah,
sometimes take quite a bit of prodding to get somebody into doing it consistently. That is the key. You're not gonna
exactly.
get jacked if you go to the gym once, and not once a week either. You got to be consistent.
Mhm. But people get used to fast results and they get used to something short term and quick. Prescription drugs are like that. Once you feel better, that doesn't mean that really at the root cause the problem went away. So that's what I've realized that in the beginning, I realized how those who are especially on prescription drugs, their mentality about all this is just, I need quick results and I need to see it fast. And they were kind of disappointed because they had dealt with something for decades, yet they were expecting it to go away in a matter of days or weeks. And then there was the whole, again, consistent habit of taking it consistently. So in this mission, in this business, there's some psychology or human nature that goes with it as well. That the health coach or whoever is helping you is should at least try to inform you of these things or remind you of these things to keep an eye out. And yeah, and then other things like, what do I do with my prescription drugs if I start taking the nutrition? Or all these little small details that really make a difference in the experience that people get. But yeah, definitely now, fast forward, I've had so many different cases I've seen as complex as stage 4 cancer or clogged arteries or very severe diabetes or obesity where people are like close to 400 pounds, or they have a huge list of maybe 15, 20 different symptoms. They're on like 10 different prescription drugs. So I've definitely helped those individuals. But yeah, mostly just, two, three prescription drugs they were able to wean off and get off completely. A few symptoms here and there that, are not there anymore. So for the most part, it's pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but it's very possible. It's not impossible. Nothing is really, in my experience, nothing is impossible in this, in helping someone recover their health. but sometimes individuals are just way too across that line that when, for example, I'll give you a case right now. I'm helping an individual who is 88 years old. She's bedridden from multiple strokes, high blood pressure, severe diabetes, dementia, and let's see. Yeah, those are the major ones. And just completely bedridden, completely dependent on caregiver, and takes a handful of medication. Isn't able to speak, isn't able to, I mean, could move an arm or something, but completely dependent. And this is a case that's been taking months and months, and there's been improvements, but it's just there's so much toxicity from the drugs. There's so much deficiency over the decades. There's the lack of absorption. There's, again, I'm not there to see if the caretaker is giving the nutrition every single day consistently on a regular basis in the right amounts. So there's these factors too. So this is been one of the, I wouldn't say harder cases, but it's a case that's been taking a long time. It's been 6, 7 months, and it's been tough, yeah. Because compared to other cases, you see very, very quick results. Again, sometimes people will feel something in a day or two, and then they continue and they see more and more in a week and 2 weeks. And, you know, you can evaluate all this yourself, or I can help you with that, of seeing the gradual improvement over time. And yeah, now they're off of this medication and that medication. And it's like suddenly the light hits your eyes and you see, wow, this is how it feels like to feel good or have energy or sleep through the night or whatever someone's dealing with. They got used to it for a long time that they think it's normal.
Of
So
course.
yeah, definitely.
I lived my life as a stiff man for
Mhm.
25 full years. Yeah, didn't even know how to move. Honestly. Still being in my body without pain is still kind of a weird thing. So luckily most of the people listening here will be younger, and if you're learning this stuff now and doing this stuff now, I promise you will not end up like that lady. You won't. You won't end up on 10 drugs with 10 different diseases. Once you start to feel symptoms, you'll know that there's actions that you can take to reverse the track, reverse the direction that you're going in, right? All disease is a process in the bad direction. You can flip that direction with your own choices. And that does not mean pharmaceutical drugs. Usually, one pharmaceutical leads to another one. They all have symptoms, they all compound the more that you're on. And it becomes a way tougher situation. Probably the hardest people we have to deal with are those that are already on tons of different pharmaceuticals. Last week, in fact, tragic case, I got an email on the weekend. I didn't see it. Answered on Monday. The woman had already died on Sunday. But in this case, what was even more tragic to me was that the doctors actually gave permission to reach out to me, reach out to the vitamin guy. It's just they left it until literally the last day. She died the next day. She was on 14 different drugs, and her situation was dire, but to me it's like if you called me a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, she had gallbladder removed like 40 years ago or something. Like, so we had a lot of time here of symptoms building up and things getting worse and worse. Perfect time to take action. But no, we waited until literally the last day. So just saying, thankfully, it should be that nobody who's listening will ever get into that state. You will know at least the basics of what to do. And if you even just do the basics, you will not end up in that state.
Prevention is always much, much easier. Yeah.
Way easier. So my first cases were actually my parents too. Not very first, but like third, fourth, something like that. I just don't think I've ever told my dad's story. I'm going to tell it very quick. So I hadn't seen my dad in like over 10 years, and I just started doing this business. I was all excited about it. Actually, not even really doing the business properly. We were just selling Tangy Tangerine, and we liked Tangy Tangerine, and I happened to have one when I saw him for the first time in many years, and he bought it off me, no problem. Well, when I had first seen him here, I hadn't seen him in a long time. He was fat, he was bald, his eyes were bulging out of his head, right? Thyroid, goiter. One canister of Tangy Tangerine. And I told him to stop beer and to switch to wine because he's still going to drink. Next time I saw him, it wasn't that far in the future. Next time I saw him, he had already lost like 20 pounds. His eyes were back in his head. He was just looking overall better. But I think a key point in his story is that he was into juicing hardcore. And even when I was a kid, he exercised. He got a little bit overweight, but then he started really hitting the rowing machine hard. And he did. He lost a lot of weight. He always tried to eat healthy, and it just wasn't working, is my point. So he's spending tons of money on fresh produce, organic produce. He's juicing it all himself every day. And boom, clearly it's not working. His eyes are bulging right out of his head. You can see it from across the hall. And he's overweight and bald and all this stuff. And just with one canister, it was such a huge difference, and he ended up losing 40 pounds just from switching from beer to wine. Didn't even change his diet significantly. That was the major change. So sometimes it is very easy to see major changes. And to get the full result will take a little bit more commitment, but it is amazing what we can do with the basics.
Yeah, very true. Thanks for sharing that story, by the way. I think, the more testimonials that people hear gives them lots of hope because a lot of people have probably lost hope if they've been suffering from something and they just want to give up. They think I'm bound to deal with this for the rest of my life. And maybe they even have gone to a holistic doctor and not much that they have done either, because that's very common as well. Just because someone is a holistic doctor or a naturopathic doctor out there in your city, I can't say confidently that they can definitely help you to the degree that, Dr. Wallach and his formulations can help. I've seen this also a lot where individuals do tell me, oh, I went to a naturopathic doctor. Didn't really help much. So what's the difference here? Like, I mean, they've really gone around the block and tried everything, including holistic. And so that's when people just even holistic medicine now seems to them like useless because I've tried it, but even in the holistic umbrella or under the holistic umbrella, there's so many different professionals and even naturopaths these days. Yeah, you gotta again, in my experience with what my clients have said or what I see myself when I speak with them, they're not really learning to the degree the things that Dr. Wallach talks about. They haven't learned these things in medical school to the degree that Dr. Wallach knows and talks about and teaches us. So yeah, it's there's so many choices out there, and unfortunately, people tend to lose hope when they've tried everything. But yeah,
Th-
there's
This
so
is
many.
this is one of the more annoying things to me actually because I don't mind taking clients who have come from the regular medical world and have tried things that are unrelated to us, but it is annoying when people quote unquote try nutrition and quote unquote did not get results. Yet you look at what happened and they went to the naturopath or nutritionist. They left with 12, 20, 30 different supplements. I'm not exaggerating, shopping bags full of supplements that end up costing a lot. Most cases, it's not covered by insurance. Sometimes it is, but still, they got these shopping bags full of products, and they're coming back and saying, "Well, it didn't work. I tried that; it didn't work." And I might be trying to explain some nutrient deficiency problem that they have, and they say, "Oh, but I tried that nutrient; it didn't work." And as you were saying earlier, it's the formula that really matters. Our formulas knock it out of the park. It's not because of this nutrient or that nutrient. Oh, you tried magnesium, you tried zinc. It's not about magnesium and zinc. It's about all 90 together and what the power of that is. But yeah, it is frustrating because, someone feels like, oh, I took 20 products and I still have my problem. Well, that's our sales pitch here is that you can easily buy 20 products, 30 products, and more and still come way short, way short. You don't even have all the nutrients. You don't have anywhere near the doses. So it's very annoying that we don't have like a standard of care in the holistic world. Everybody can recommend whatever they want. You have no idea what a nutritionist is going to tell you. We could tell each other, two nutritionists can say completely opposite things. There's just no agreement in these professions, and it does kind of suck. But yeah, Wallach comes through and cuts through a lot of that fat. gives us what's most important, pushes a lot of other stuff to the side, and you never really know what you're going to get by any practitioner. So yeah, you have to shop around, and I like to say we're the end of the line, right? We almost always get people who have tried a bunch of other things, so that's definitely normal to us, but I don't want anybody having a bad experience with nutrition and giving up on it and thinking that it's not really the thing because it really is. Just you can't add it up individually. Even for
I'll
like
also,
medical grade products, right? Like proper physician only companies, still, it's not enough.
yeah, I'll also add the fact that a lot of individuals do ask, well, what's the research on this product? What show me the research? What proof is there? Dr. Wallach's work is the search. Everything after that seems to be just the research. The more, let's get into this. Like the autopsies and the blood chemistries, the histopathologies, thousands and millions of those on different species of animals and humans for comparison. That was the essence of nutrition. That was the search. And now we're researching again and again. But he did it all. Like the book that came out of that, that says it all, that all of these conditions that are chronic are due to lack of these essential nutrients. So again, I don't know how else to say it, but if you look up the benefits of a certain nutrient or vitamin or whatever, it goes back to Dr. Wallach's discoveries and it goes back to those autopsies that had to be done in order for him to realize. I mean, he's the father of epigenetics. Epigenetics is the new field, or it's not really new, but it's the fact that your environment and the choices you make affect your health. It's not genetics, it's not predetermined before you're born. I mean, the only thing that is genetic is your gender, your hair color, eye color, skin color. If we are able to prevent or reduce the chances or improve the symptoms of or reverse, however we want to say it, if we're able to do that to any health symptom or condition, that by definition is not genetic. How can,
It's
yeah, I mean,
proof.
and
If you can reverse it,
it's
it's not genetic.
so, yeah, again, what he did back in the 1970s and no one else has, I mean, his book, Epigenetics, if you read that, that is like the most epic book there is overall, not just nutrition, but history and so many other things that it's like Charles Darwin and those guys back a few hundred years ago, and then things they were discovering and the germ theory that came along and genetics. Those guys were, you know, top in their field at that time. Well, there will come a day where Dr. Wallach we will look back at his work with epigenetics and realize that it's all nutrition when it comes to this kind of stuff. Now, heaven forbid you get a broken arm or something traumatic happens in the car accident or it's an emergency. That's what the medical model is good for and those the medical doctors. But in this case, the message we're trying to give to people is that you have complete control over your health and it's not destined, it's not set in stone. You have complete control because it's epigenetics. And what you do determines whether symptoms come and go, come and go. You take nutrients away, symptoms will come back. You give the nutrients, they will go away. Same thing with your car, same thing with just really anything in life. The function of it depends on how you take care of it. Is really one message we're trying to teach here. So yeah, I just never want anyone to lose hope when it comes to health problems. There's always a solution. There's always something you can do about it.
Yeah, and we might have to go through, like in the extreme cases here, we might have to go through quite a list of trying a few things, but there has to be an option. We can't give up. I agree. So, Mosh, at one point you started using this virtual body scan. Can you tell us about that? What is it? How long ago did you stumble on that? why do you find it useful?
Of course, again, there's many resources in longevity, but for a health coach myself, and when it comes to credibility, I guess you can say, and helping individuals who don't really believe in holistic health. They don't really believe that nutrition can help them. And they may not believe just the word of someone, even if they're a health professional. People really rely on what their doctors say. So it's just not only a tool to give. So I'll back up. I'll say it's a tool. It's a body scan in the same way you go get an MRI or a CT scan and it gives some information about that specific body part. Well, this virtual scan, and it can be done anywhere in the world, it scans the body, and through scanning the facial blood and the different layers of your skin, it's able to extract lots of different information about the organ systems, the different organs, your teeth, the vertebrae in your back, and even emotions. So I guess you can liken it to a lie detector test. Lie detector test, you're hooked up and it's able to detect the fluctuation in your heart rate. And, I've never been hooked to one, so I don't know exactly all the details of what it measures, but I can describe it to something like that, where by using the data it's receiving from the light that is reflecting off your skin, it's able to capture that. And if someone is furious and mad, there's going to be a lot of blood flow to their head and throughout their body, and that's definitely going to show up. Or someone's stressed out, or someone might be going through something else. So this is one of the newest tools that is out there, available to different health professionals. And so I've been using it since 2019. Since 2019, for instance, you or anyone else, I don't know, because we go by symptoms. We don't necessarily go by of the name of the diagnosis, because that may not give us so much. But if you go down by the different symptoms someone has, it gives you a bit more clues of what's going on. So we help people based on their symptoms, and we recommend a certain health pack or a certain nutritional formula. But in this case, this scan gives information about all the different organs. So it also it gives you the, sorry, I'm trying to explain it in a way that's not complicated. But for example, let's focus on the gastrointestinal system. That's one of the things that it scans. um, it will list down the different factors and the different things that are contributing negatively to your gastrointestinal system. So it might say bacteria, it might say this specific class of nutrients, it might say viruses or fungi or inflammation. It will list the different factors that are negatively contributing to this organ system. And you can even put in order and focus on, okay, these are the top stuff that is really hurting my gastrointestinal system. It also does the same thing for your immune system. So it's immune system, gastrointestinal system, the hormonal system, and the detoxification system. And then all the organs, so top to bottom, head to toe, all the organs, and then all the vertebrae and all the teeth. For those who don't know, every single tooth is connected to a specific organ. So if your teeth health is not so good, that's going to affect the rest of the organs and vice versa. So tooth health is really important. And the emotions, and it's just very fascinating how just through the hemoglobin and the melanin that is in our skin, and this being able to use the facial blood flow that there is, it's able to capture this information. And so I provide this scan to my clients in the beginning before they start. And then we do a scan about a month later. And every month we do it. And it's basically an evaluation, but it's also a tool to see their improvement over time. And then it goes into further like specific things affecting their diet. What is it in their diet? All the different factors, again, that are contributing negatively to their diet. So now you know what's missing. Let's say if it's probiotics or minerals or vitamins, or is it, uh, I don't know, other toxins that are in their diet, it will show up. It goes into other categories such as mental stress. It goes into toxic stress. It goes into sleep, hydration, and the emotions. So just different types of different categories that are part of our daily life, and then all the different organs and organ systems. But more importantly, what is it that's contributing negatively to this part of my body? And then it will recommend nutrition or formulas from longevity that your body will respond to really well. Your body desperately needs this formulation according to the symptoms and the organs and the different other things that the scan is telling you. It will make recommendations on the formulas. So it's not common. I haven't really heard of anyone else um, using this. So it's something new. But in the same way that a lie detector test is hooked up to you and it's able to capture certain information, well, this is using the hemoglobin and the melanin from the different layers of your skin and the blood flow throughout your face and the skin, and it's able to create a report. And it's just a great tool that I offer to anyone who wants to know about it, because we may be walking down the street and living our daily life feeling like we're fine, but the body's very forgiving. And you will have to go through years and years until something suddenly shows up, and then the doctor diagnoses you. So a lot of times you feel fine, but there's so many things that are happening throughout the body, and the damage builds up. The damage from your diet and your environment builds up over time. So it's a very good idea to know what's happening and know in advance and jump in there. Yeah.
I have a few more questions about this body scan, but actually, since you mentioned teeth, I think that's a very good time for me to mention my friends at the American Biodental Clinic. If you're looking for people who know what they're doing when it comes to holistic dentistry and are using the state-of-the-art equipment and techniques in replacing old metallic mercury fillings and reversing root canals properly, all that stuff, I trust the American Biodental Clinic. They're conveniently located just a few minutes over the border in Tijuana, Mexico, because if you didn't know, holistic dentistry is either illegal in America, Canada, Australia, so on, or it's extremely expensive and quite limited in what they can actually do. So this quote, medical tourism is huge in Mexico, especially in Tijuana, especially when it comes to holistic dentistry. And there are many clinics to choose from, but I wholeheartedly trust American Biodental. And you can see everything that they offer on their website, americanbiodental.com. And you can consult with them for free. And by the way, they do pick you up over the border. They'll pick you up as far as the San Diego airport, take you to their clinic, just 5-10 minutes over the border, and bring you back at the end. That is free, complimentary. And they have a range of other services as well, a bunch of different IVs and all that stuff. But right now, just letting you know, you can look into them on americanbiodental.com, free consultation. And their other website, holisticcare.com, has their other medical services. And if you do decide to use any of their services, you can use my referral code. You can say that Not Us referred you, and you will get $50 off if you spend at least $400, which is about the price of getting an old filling removed and replaced with a new filling, a non-toxic filling. So tell them that Not Us referred you. Get your mouth fixed. It is important. It could be one of the major things that turns your health around. And
Yeah,
Mosh.
definitely. I just want to say thanks for bringing that up because I watched that podcast and I watched it off of YouTube, and it really confirmed a lot of the things I had learned before. But this is a good example of how sometimes, let's say in longevity or just in general, someone is trying to use nutrition to recover somehow, yet there's other obstacles in the way. And the tooth problem, especially mercury amalgams or any other, tooth decay, root canals, is definitely one of those obstacles that sometimes will just not give you much results with nutrition. So the research is there. There's a direct link between mercury amalgams, root canals, with a whole host of other health problems. Because again, the teeth are connected. They're a living. They're not just like, I don't know, your hair, but that's still part of your body. But your teeth are connected to different parts of your body, and so
It's a
it's
living part
very,
of your body. Imagine one of your finger imagine one of your fingers was rotting off, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
kind of like what it is when you have a cavity. Oh, it's just this, you know, non-connected thing to my body. No, if your pinky started rotting off, you would take it seriously. You should take the tooth just as seriously.
exactly. And they leave it in our body when it is decayed. But, a medical doctor will remove your, let's say, appendix when it ruptures or it has some kind of problem. Yet the dentist, we won't go into the reasons or all that, but they leave this decayed organ in your body, or they remove all the roots and the nerves that connect to this tooth. They remove all that. So now, how can there be any kind of connection between your tooth and the rest of your body? How can even nutrients go to that tooth? How can there be blood flow or oxygen or anything reach that tooth? They can't. So it'll just decay and will just contribute to your health problems. So it's definitely, yeah, your health when it comes to your teeth is definitely something that's overlooked a lot and it's not really talked about as much, and it definitely plays a factor. So thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
So this virtual body scan, I'm just stuck on the word virtual here. Is this like a phone app? Like what is the machine that's doing the scan?
Yeah, exactly. So when I started in 2019, it was only able to be done in person. It was sort of like a machine that you had to put your hand on and just make contact with, and it would be able to do the scan. Now the technology has advanced that you can use the camera of your phone, and in the same way that you take a video or photo of yourself, it's capturing light from it's the surroundings, and now you see it on your phone screen. Your phone's camera uses the technology that's created to scan the face, and then it provides the information. So I'll answer some of the common questions I get. No, there's completely no, storage of your face in any matter. There's a whole privacy and legality with confidential. All of that is just nothing to worry about. So all it does is for 30 seconds, it analyzes the facial blood flow and it provides the information. And that's just kept between me and my client. And then it's virtual because anyone out in the world who has a smartphone can simply use this. So I would send them a link to it and they will download the technology and then they will able to do the scan. Takes 30 seconds. Then both of us get the report and now you have at your fingertips all this information about your body and the different factors negatively affecting it. So that's what virtual, well, that's what I mean by virtual. If anyone has a phone, I can send it to them anywhere in the world. They can do it. And then it has no radiation. And see, this is the value and the difference when it comes to the medical model and holistic health. You go take an MRI or a CT scan or ultrasound, all these different diagnostic tests, they have radiation. To some degree, they have radiation, even if you do it once. But the downside also is they only give you information on one specific part of the body. Could be your head, could be bones in your leg, whatever. So you're getting radiation and you're getting information about one specific part. The scan has no radiation and it gives information of the whole body, the different organ systems that I mentioned, and the different organs that there are, and your vertebrae, which knowing Dr. Wallach, if you know what he talks about, the nerves that come out of between each vertebrae connect to different organs. So sometimes you may have a problem with your heart, but it's not really a heart problem. It's your vertebrae that have a problem. So knowing which discs and vertebrae have issues, and then like you said, every single tooth, it will say tooth number so and so, and then you can look up, see which tooth is it. And people tell me, oh yes, I had a root canal there, or I have a mercury amalgam, it's showing up. So all that information, it's about oh close to 200 different biomarkers, you can call it, that it measures and it gives the health status of. So
Just from scanning the face.
that, yeah, that's what it does. And you can go to PubMed, PUBMED.gov. Anyone should go to pubmed.gov and search transdermal optical imaging. So transdermal, we know that's the skin. So transdermal optical imaging. And when you look that up, you will also gain more information about all the research that has been done on this. Or even forget about pubmed.gov. So for some people that might be a bit scientific, just go to Google and search transdermal optical imaging. So wherever you go, you will find information about it and it will explain in details or however much you want to learn, whether PubMed or Google, transdermal optical imaging. They'll tell you about it. Yeah. I find it very useful for myself, my wife, family, friends, clients, really anyone. And in a way, it gives you information that is a bit more in the present times, in the near present, but also chronically over the years, things that have stayed in your body and have piled up. So you get all that, plus the recommendations of which longevity formulas to use.
This is super interesting. I'm looking at some of the PubMed articles, and yeah, they're saying, hey, this correlates with this other test. And so that was actually my next question to you. Like, clearly, you've been using this machine for 5 years or so. So you see a strong correlation with like what we would see on a questionnaire. You see that also show up on the scan that only scans the face. Like, I'm kind of blown away here.
It's the face, but it's really the layers of the skin. So if it were to scan, I don't know, my abdomen or my arm, you can say pretty much it's the same thing because my body throughout, no matter where, it's all gonna be the same state that it will tell me. This is just doing it through the facial blood flow. So also, I forgot to mention, it will tell you your heart rate. It will tell you how many breaths you take per minute. It will tell you your skin age. So it will tell you, it will give you like a mental stress index and that will help. There's so many things that it tells me, and it's like I don't even have to know anything about my clients. Complete stranger comes to me, send them the uh, scan, and it's like they're telling me, yes, 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 these are the emotions I feel on a regular basis. This is the mental amount of stress I have. this is part of my diet. Like it's like there's no escaping it because it's just your body doesn't lie. It's receiving this information from the body. The same thing, you can't escape a lie detector test if you think about it too hard or something, and then suddenly your heart rate changes. So people are amazed at when they see, wow, this fits exactly with what I feel, the symptoms I have, the different parts of my body that I have conditions for. And then, of course, in addition to that, they get more information that they have no clue. Like, oh, I thought I felt I felt fine in this area, but no, I'm seeing this and this and this. And sometimes we forget, oh, I may be taking my supplements, but I'm drinking tap water. So water contaminants comes up on the list. Or, I mean, what else? You can say, I'm taking again the supplements. I've avoided all the bad stuff, but why is fungi and mold coming up? Well, their favorite breakfast, he told me, is peanut butter on bread. So we know peanuts tend to grow mold. Or years ago, someone was exposed to mold more in an environmental way rather than their diet. So different things like that show up, and the client either is saying, "Wow, this is very true. This is exactly me," and then some parts they say, "Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, I definitely. This is a good reminder. Let me get back to trying to adjust my lifestyle." Um,
Do you
so
start everyone with a scan? Is this like your standard first thing practice?
I recommend it and I offer it in the beginning when I tell them, okay, why don't we start with this first step? Because it gives such a broad picture of everything that's happening in the body. And it's like the more you know, it may complicate things, but it's like the more you know, then the better, again, the picture. Instead of picking a few symptoms here and there just because they told me, why don't we take it a further step and go directly with every organ or the different contaminants or toxins? So I offer it. Majority of people do want to do the scan. Some people, for whatever reason, say, I forget the scan, forget the questionnaire. I just know my doctor told me I have this. This is what I'm diagnosed with. This is my focus. That's all they want to do. But majority of people are very interested in knowing this information about their body. So yeah, you're free to do
The
it. So why
the
not?
more information, the better. Just a few hours ago, I was doing a Zoom with a man, and he was coming to me for prediabetes and Parkinson's symptoms. Those are already two big ones. That gives us two pretty big starting points there. But I had to dig out other symptoms out of him. So just you said something. It's like the symptoms they mention, right? A lot of times there's a lot of stuff they don't mention, especially if you don't actually get on the phone or a Zoom with them or actually talk with them in real life. I'm pulling out all kinds of other symptoms from this man, so it's not just these two isolated things. It turns out there's actually a huge pattern here. And you pull one thing after another out of them, and all of a sudden the picture is much more clear. But still, it is nice to have that spread of information. That same man, he had just had blood work done. Okay, read it. What does it say for this? What does it say for this? Give me the numbers, because it helps. It gives us a point to work with. You also said something else though, and we used to do hair analysis at our store in Windsor, Ontario. The store is still there, Body Tune Wellness. It's in the Central Mall in Tecumseh, and they still have the hair analysis machine there. But I would always try and talk people out of it because I was thinking like, well, you could pay the $100 for the scan, but I can just look at you like I know it sounds kind of cocky, but like I'm looking at the person, I can see symptoms. We can go through the questionnaire. Probably just with that, you will get a result. It will be pretty clear, but there are a lot of cases where the having any more information really helps, especially if we don't get the expected results in a couple of months. Really, really useful to look at any other data we can. But really, what you said that I'm agreeing with here is it's the customer themselves seeing that information that it's almost impossible to act on. You know, they've got all this information now. Our hair analysis, similar, would give us a bunch of different information. And for some reason, it's different than me just saying it. You know, I'm saying, yeah, that rosacea on your cheek, it's probably caused by gluten. You know, it's in one ear and out the other, but then they look at the sheet and it says, you know, wheat, barley, or rye, or whatever on the sheet that they're sensitive to. And for some reason, now they're willing to believe it or willing to do something about it. And I know it can sound kind of ridiculous too when we go through some case studies and we're like, all right, that's a deficiency of this, that's a deficiency of this, and these two nutrients or three, or go through this long list of deficiencies, and people can kind of gloss over, like, are they really just, you know, trying to sell us on all these different nutrients? What's going on here? But then you do a hair analysis or you do another scan and it says, yeah, you've got 40 different deficiencies here, you know, or you got 40 different nutritional problems going on here. And it is actually correlating with our explanation. So I'm just saying that, yeah, for some reason, people having that data sheet in front of them allows a lot of people to take action. And if that is the thing that'll give you full motivation to do something, then it is worth the cost. What does this cost? What does this scan cost, by the way?
Uh, I, I've never wanted finances to be an obstacle when it comes to health. So for the first 7, 8 years, I did it the wrong way. I didn't know there was a commission part of it. I didn't charge anyone for anything. But now living, a married life with expenses in 2024, I think just with human psychology, for their own benefit, I rather charge a small amount just so that they feel connected and committed to it rather than some kind of free gift that came to me and they don't see much of it. Or same thing with products. They never even open it or, use it. So I generally charge $50 for the scan. And again, I think of the value it's bringing to the table. So you can compare it to an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray. I can't tell you off the top of my head how much exactly that costs for people, but usually insurance covers it. And if it doesn't, it's could be around that much, could be 100, $200. It varies basically. But then again, how much information is the X-ray or MRI giving you? So for the value that this is getting, it's just no comparison because this is the whole body. It's talking about the different things contributing to your health. It puts them in order for you so you can focus on you can make a priority out of it. It gives you product recommendation. It gives you stuff about your emotions and trauma that you've been dealing with, your teeth, vertebrae, on and all these things. So I just say $50 because um, of the value it brings, and people are completely fine with that. And some people are very amazed or surprised. What? Just 50? Well, I don't know, however much of a copay just to go to my doctor, let alone him now prescribing something or getting paid for other treatments. So
50
that's
bucks is a
just,
great price. I just had blood work done in Texas with my wife. So there's two of us, and we had to do it twice.
mm,
So I'm pretty sure it was 500 bucks for two sets of blood work twice. Four sets of blood work, I guess. But still, I mean, what am I going to do with one set of blood work? I was trying to figure something out. I was trying to test something. So we had to get blood work done. Yeah, 500 bucks, man, just for a limited panel too. It didn't have the full nutrition panel or anything. Got like five different tests in there, but still, it wasn't everything they could offer. We could easily have spent $2,000, not kidding, to get all the different tests that they offered. And you said 200 data points. That's a lot of data points. And so far, all of these articles that I was pulling up are saying, yep, this correlates with what we're looking for. It looks like this is pretty accurate. So I'm very impressed by that actually. Let me tell you a funny story too about this use of tests and stuff. So the guy that I helped open that store in Windsor, Ontario, his name's Mike Butler. And the reason I met him is because of our products. The reason he got into our products is because he was doing the hair analysis at his booth. And before it became a store, it was a booth. And he was looking for products that would give people all the stuff that the scan kept saying they were deficient in. He would scan this person and it would say, "Oh, you're deficient in chromium and manganese and sulfur and vitamin C, the 90 essential nutrients." Basically, it's a good scan and it tells you a large range of nutrients that you could be deficient in. And what do you know? The average person is indeed deficient in like a dozen or more nutrients. And so, yeah, he needed a product to actually give all that. I just thought it was interesting that that's how he ended up finding us, because anyone who's logically trying to find all these nutrients in a convenient package, you don't have that many options out there. Hopefully you find us because we got it. I thought it was great because yeah, people are ready and willing to take action once they see, okay, I'm deficient in the chromium and the manganese. Okay, Mike, what do I do for this? Bam, here's the products. So it is good. It's good on both of our ends. I've kind of dismissed tests in the past just because so many cases are actually so much easier than people believe or the doctors believe. The average case is very easy, but having that information is so invaluable. You can act on it right away, or you could wait a few months, do it then. And it's better to do it up front, I think. If you're going to do it, it's better to do it up front. You might as well.
Yeah. This tool is really helpful, again, just so you see it for yourself. Again, just because I said so or so and so said so, it may not, people may, it's just human nature. Maybe they just be like, okay, what's the evidence, or where's the research? How can you say this? Where do you, but if again, the body doesn't lie. So if this is the information that is now in front of you, I didn't have to tell you that. I could have told you that certain things based on the symptoms you will tell me, but why don't we just let your body tell both of us? And why don't we see the whole picture, or again, close to 200 data points, rather than us sitting here and back and forth, questions, answers, just go through your whole life and try to remember all these symptoms. And again, there's so many different things that a person could tell you all their symptoms, but that's not really the complete picture. Because again, if I'm seeing this, and this, and this, and this, these are the major contributing factors to someone's gastrointestinal health, for example, or any other thing, that gives me a very complete picture, or a more complete picture of what's really happening, or really what kind of support they need. So it just makes it easier for everyone. It's a win-win for everyone to have this information about your body. So hair analysis, this body scan, blood tests. I mean, the blood is sort of like towards the end. That's the last place you start to see certain changes. I don't want to really rely on blood, because then the reference ranges the MD gives are based on what's normal amongst the population, but it's not really normal. It's just common in our society. So you can't go off of their standard of normal. But yeah, definitely hair analysis or other tools are very, very valuable.
So you said it marks emotions too, like emotional problems. First of all, that's cool. Second of all, do you act on that? Like if somebody comes up and the scan says tremendous grief or guilt, I don't know what it says. Does it say those kinds of things? And how would you act on that?
Honestly, I can't act on it much compared to everything else. But for example, if I do see, yeah, grief or sadness, emptiness, stuff like that, and this is again a complete stranger that I don't know nothing about. Once we get to that point where I'm discussing with them the results and we get to the emotion part, suddenly they say, or sometimes, they don't say, it's private stuff. But I've had individuals who have lost a loved one, a spouse, and they say, yeah, I lost my spouse a few years ago, and I've been really down since then. Or my own parents, I know my parents pretty well and what's going on in their life. So their emotions, it makes sense to me. I'm like, yes, like this is part of the character, let's say, of my parent and what they're going through with their life in their through the daily stresses of life. It makes sense. So, and then of course it puts them in order. So, certain things someone is going in a more near present moment, more recent times, but then there could be like childhood traumas or more things from old times that will show up again too. So it's across really a long period of time that it will give those emotions. And yeah, it will tell you directly, just very simple: grief, sadness, tension, angry, jealousy, hopelessness, etc. So, but that's one of the categories that uh, you can't, that's just a private thing between that person and themselves. Other than, yes, there are certain nutrients that would be very beneficial with brain chemistry and neurotransmitters when it comes to mental health. Let's say if I know that, then I can offer that to them, you know? Um, but other than that, yeah, everything else, all the other data points, very, very valuable because it gives you the reason. It gives you the different reasons and the contributing factors that are affecting this organ system or this, your diet, your sleep, your hydration. It gives you these reasons and you can put them in order so you can focus on the more aggressive ones that are really having a big impact. And then, of course, it provides different nutritional formulas from longevity that your body will respond the best to, according to what's going on with all these organs and organ systems. And then with the library that it has of the longevity products, they will then recommend, okay, so and so formula, you will benefit the most. Like, I'm just going to pick a random formula, niacin plus. It will say this formula by itself will bring 50 data points or 50 biomarkers back into range.
So you've programmed in the longevity products or what?
When I purchased this in 2019, I selected longevity because there's about two or three other companies that have their products in the library. So you choose which products you want to be there, and then it will tell you, okay, this formula will help you to this degree. So it will give you exactly this formula will bring, and it uses the terms in range and out of range, like in balance, out of balance, which organs are need the support or they're kind of doing fine on their own. So this formula will bring 55 biomarkers into range. And then this other one will bring 20 additional ones into range. So the understanding is everyone's on the foundation 90, everyone's on the foundation nutrition, but where do I go from there? What other add-ons do I need? So it will list them for you. And then you can see to a degree how many data points, how many parts of your body, how many biomarkers will it support in bringing into balance again. And then maybe some people have specific parts of their body that are really, really just in bad shape, and that's what their focus should be. Or they can say, I want the whole picture and I want to address it all. So you can also focus on just particular parts. I can say, okay, let's just focus on the detoxification system. Now, let's see what nutritional formulas are recommended just for your detoxification system. So you can narrow it down as much as you want, whatever your focus you want it to be, or you can go through the whole picture, the whole body. So lots of wiggle room in there, but yeah, it's very eye-opening to know, oh, okay, we have been dealing with this for 6 months and it's been a plateau for some while. Okay, now I know it's recommending these formulas. I hadn't offered these formulas to this person before because I don't know, they didn't tell me this specific symptom. or I didn't connect the dots in this way. Okay, let's try this. And that could be your next milestone or hurdle that you jump over. And yeah, you move on with the recovery. So it's been very helpful for that. The hard case I mentioned to you, the 88-year-old who's bedridden with so many different symptoms and prescription drugs. It's been very helpful for her because I've been giving a scan to her every single month, and I'm seeing improvements in the biomarkers. At different times, different formulas come up because the body is just repairing, and now the priority is other stuff. So yeah, very amazing tool, and just the way God has designed our bodies.
I have a couple of more questions. One, just broadly, what are some of your favorite products?
That's a very good question. I love, again, all of them are multifunctional based on the ingredients, again, and if we could have any one particular formula and it has only one ingredient, again, that one ingredient or that one nutrient will have a broad spectrum effect across the body. That's the difference between nutrition and medication. It's not one medication for this, one medication for that. So I love that the formulas are very multifunctional. Um, but I do have certain favorites as far as how, yeah. So the Z radical or fucoid Z, I would say, is definitely one of them because of the value it brings, because of the multifunctionality. And yeah, I've done so much research on fucoidin, and the question is, what does it not help with? So that's definitely one, fucoidin in Z radical and fucoid Z. The collagen peptide formulations we have several different types. I love those. And that's the thing I was mentioning earlier. A formula will say bone and joint support or something on it, but it goes much more than that if you really analyze the ingredients and the benefits of each. So the collagen peptides, yes, we can say, or it's advertised as bone, joints, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, your skin, but all of this stuff I just named is throughout the whole body. So the lining of your arteries are made from the tissue, the connective tissue that would benefit from collagen peptides. The lining in your intestines would benefit from collagen peptides. So let's not just think about what's on the bottle, but if you look deep into it of what the ingredients are and what they do, the collagen peptides wouldn't just be for your skeletal system. It will be for your gut. It will be for your arteries. Well, if it's going to help my arteries, it's going to help me with my cardiovascular system. If it's going to help my gut, it's going to help my immune system because of the relationship of the gut and the immune system. If it's going to help my gut, it's going to help my skin because again, those we see the connection. Those who have dry skin or rosacea or just their red cheeks, their gut has been damaged, or the gut and the brain. So it's these connections and what the ingredients do. So those are some, and I can go on and on because the collagen peptides, it's not just collagen, there's other things. And for example, it has some systemic enzymes, and systemic enzymes are very helpful for pain and swelling, inflammation, preparing your body for surgery. They eat away and they digest proteins and clots and any other debris and waste that's clogging up the arteries. So these systemic enzymes that you'll find in collagen peptides, it's helpful for those. So you're getting the benefit for skeletal system stuff, intestines, arteries, gut, brain, clearing up the nasty stuff that's clogging up your arteries. Or, I mean, you can go on and on. I mean, there's the digestive enzymes. Dr. Wallach talks about just taking them a few minutes before eating helps you digest food. Well, those same digestive enzymes, if you take them on an empty stomach and you just give it time, let it do its thing, don't eat, just take the digestive enzymes on an empty stomach, it has those anti-inflammatory properties. It has those pain relieving or yeah, it has a broad effect on the body. So my whole point is all the products are so multifunctional because their nutrients are multifunctional, and we have to go a bit beyond what it's advertised as. So digestive enzymes, collagen peptides, Z radical fucoid, nightly essence is I love that because of the probiotics, and again those systemic enzymes are in there. Um, I don't want to name. I'm kind of. It's like Dr. Wall. Like he's a bit afraid of naming specific formulas because it tends to attract a lot of people. So disclaimer: use this in addition to the Foundation 90. Everyone, not just by themselves, because it all works together. So
Well, I imagine some other distributors and stuff will be listening too. So yeah, I just wanted to get a few
yeah,
of your favorite products there. But I have one last question, kind of brings us full circle because you mentioned cancer at the very beginning. So obviously it's a very personal disease category for you. Now, knowing everything that you know, all these products at the disposal, and you have this virtual body scan, how do you think of cancer now? What's your basic explanation of what's going on? What types of things do you see on the virtual body scan? What types of things do you expect to see even before you do the scan?
it's never just like any other health problem. It's never just one thing affecting or contributing to this scan or this to contributing to this cancer or contributing to this diagnosis. It's never one thing. It's multiple things coming at different angles over an extended amount of time for the most part that has led to this person being diagnosed with cancer. So nutrient deficiencies, toxicity in your diet, could be sometimes environment, could be radiation from constantly microwaving your food, constantly holding your phone for whatever reason, maybe your job requires it to your head, or having a laptop on your lap in that area. So exposure to radiation, like really a lot, consistent. Lack of nutrients, I mentioned, consumption of processed foods. I'm seeing a lot consumption of processed foods, fast foods. You could even cook at home, but again, your ingredients could be processed or not so clean. Lack of blood flow, like dirty blood, not clean blood, and clogged arteries that not allowing blood flow to circulate everywhere. Oxygen is another thing, oxygen really shows up in different conditions such as cardiovascular related, cancer related,
We're
those who have
talking
had
lack of oxygen, yeah?
exactly lack of oxygen. And, people could say, well, I breathe, I go out, but there's other things. There's other things contributing to this oxygen utilization in your body. It's like the whole acid alkaline diet. I know dietitians who recommend an alkaline diet with lots of green leafy vegetables. An alkaline diet will help with cancer. Not exactly based on what I've learned in my experience. So we know certain nutrients, specifically the 90-90 plus specific nutrients, that help alkalinity way more than anything else that could be out there, like just consume dark leafy greens. So but it really summarizes down to, based on my experience, different contributing factors. So the top ones, I would say, lack of nutrients, toxicity from your environment, but mostly from your diet, the dirty, sticky blood, not enough blood flow everywhere, the oxygen or a lack of low levels of oxygen, which longevity can help with that. Radiation can come from different places. Yeah, those are the major contributing factors I'm seeing, in addition to, of course, prescription drugs people take. They start on radiation and chemo right away. So now suddenly you're just going down the wrong path. Now that makes our job way harder because if someone's taking that much chemotherapy and radiation consistently and all these other things, nutrition is going to be very, it's going to take a lot to try to handle all that. It's like two steps forward, three, four steps back. It's just much more difficult and time consuming. So and that's one of those, it's tough. What are you gonna do? Like how it's their choice too. Someone may or may not want to get off of chemo radiation. It's very scary. And what if, they don't do all this other stuff the right way, So it's very difficult. It's time consuming. You have to be very consistent with it. But those were the major contributing factors that I've seen help a lot and contribute in the scanner results and just by talking with people and yeah, with the testimonials and longevity of those who've had cancer. But it's a full-time job to get on the other side, if especially you're doing all the bad stuff like chemo at the same time.
Yeah, I read someone recently said it's a full-time job for about 2 years if you have cancer. It's what you should expect. And I think that's very appropriate because we should see some initial progress. There might be some ups and downs, but realistically, you don't do this for 3 months and stop. You don't do this for 5 months, get the all clear from your doctor, there's no more tumors anymore, and then you just go back to everything you were doing before. It should take at least 2 years to really fully turn everything around to where you're smooth sailing. And then even then, you still have to maintain it.
Yeah, if I may say, whether it's cancer or really any other health condition, again, you are in this position because of your choices that have built up over the years. So we got to start making changes and you will get better. But if you go back to the way things were, if you do this things you used to do, then the results will be just like before. So it's a lifestyle is what it is rather than just a temporary change to get on the other side and then you go back to doing what you were doing. So it's a lifestyle is in no matter what condition you have, it's the choices you make, it's epigenetics, it's your health will come and go based on the choices we make. So, and it's very tough in our world these days because of, again, the food, the water, the toxins, the this and that. But of course, we have lots of tools to help us with all of this. But yeah, prevention is much easier and starting as soon as possible is much better. Why wait?
Well, I completely agree. And I'm pretty happy with this recording. Moshe, do you have anything else to add to this?
Just, yeah, final thoughts would be don't lose hope. Don't feel discouraged or don't feel down because of a certain diagnosis or something you're dealing with. Again, you have complete control because of just the way the body has been designed. You can do something about it. And we are a resource to help people. We provide the information and the knowledge, we provide the solutions so that you don't have to depend on a doctor. You don't have to depend on someone telling you, you know, this and that. You want to be in complete control of your own health because it's the greatest wealth you have. Because you don't have it, well, now you miss work, you miss school, you don't feel so good, you can't do the things you enjoy. It's just a huge obstacle in life. And so many people are just at the bare minimum going through life. They're not thriving. They're barely surviving. And our job is to help you thrive at optimal health. The job of the medical doctor is to mask your symptoms and just buy some time so you don't suffer as much with pain and keep you living, but they are not able to help you thrive. It's just not what they're capable of due to their training. But what they're good at and what you should go to them for would be the traumatic emergency stuff. So everyone is good at a certain thing, and we should go to them for that specific thing. You wouldn't go to a chiropractor for surgery, then at the same time, you shouldn't go to an MD who prescribes drugs for anything chronic. So don't ever lose hope. We are here for you. We will hold your hand and we will guide you through this process. You just have to want it also. We can't want it and we can't be pushing you. This is a team effort. You have to want it inside to make an effort and want to make a change. And we're here for you.
I agree. And Moshe, I'm very happy that we did this, and I'm happy to have you on the team. I'm definitely happy for anybody who's still here thinking about, oh, maybe I'm going to try these guys' program. I'm very happy they get to meet you, because I told you recently, and I've been telling the other coaches too, I am swamped with people. This is January here we're recording in, and this is usually the busy time, but each year it gets crazier and crazier. There's more and more people walking away from mainstream medicine. There's more and more people hearing about us. But yeah, I need to pass some of these people off onto someone who is equally qualified, if not even, maybe even more knowledgeable than I am. So yeah, I'm happy to recommend people your way, and people listening. Again, if you are looking for guidance in your health, you can select Moshe as a coach on our contact page. It is in the description. You fill out your questionnaire, send it to him, and you now know you have the option of doing the virtual body scan as well, which to me for $50 is really an excellent way to start. Just don't start with any, just eliminate a whole bunch of ambiguity right up front. Get right to the point of what the problem could be and get the best products matched up. That sounds awesome. That sounds like it might even be something I want to start doing. We can talk about that in the future. So yeah, I appreciate everybody being here. If you would like to support the podcast directly, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/therealnotus. There, all the podcast episodes do post at least 1 week early, sometimes several weeks early. When the video version is available, just like this episode, it's on Patreon as well. We also do weekly Zoom meetings that I post on the Patreon. We'll dive deep into different diseases and different products, and we'll do case studies together and talk about how we would start the person and stuff like that. Pretty valuable, I think. And even just $1.99 buys you access to all the content on the Patreon. We appreciate it. And finally, of course, remember you can find everything that I do on my website, notusbooks.org, including all the books that I've written and helped publish, and the free audiobook versions of my books, and the archive of this podcast. There are some episodes there that haven't even posted to podcast land since we got taken down last year, 2023. Not all the episodes have been reposted, so you can always see extra episodes in the archive. And Moshe, I think that's about it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for all you do, Ryan. Thanks so much for, again, knowing your story, who you were, where you were, and how far you've come. It's a true inspiration for everyone. So thanks for all you do, and thanks for allowing me to help more people. And that's what we're here for. God bless.
Awesome. Thank you too. Stay healthy, everybody. Until next time.